You ready, sir?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stronghold podcast. We have an excellent guest on the podcast today. Today, I'm with Gianni Subba. He's one half of the voice of ONE Lumpinee. He's a pro MMA fighter, former #1 contender in ONE Championship, pioneer in the Malaysian MMA scene, and we're coming at you from a hotel in Bangkok. Gianni, welcome to the podcast. What's up, dude?
Thank you, man. Thank you. Pioneer always makes me feel old.
You are a pioneer, man. But you're a young pioneer.
I suppose, yeah.
How old are you now?
I just turned 30 in December. Oh, not just. I guess I'm already way past halfway.
Yeah, it flies by.
I'm about to turn 31 in December, actually, yeah.
Right on. Well, I think you said told me the other week that you've been with ONE Championship for like 10 years now.
Since I was 19, 2012.
So that kind of makes you a pioneer. Because back in those days...
I guess.
So just for you listeners to know, Gianni and I have kind of rolled in the similar circles, but like on the periphery of each other for a little while now. Because when I worked in Malaysia at Clinch, that was a gym that you trained at. So we were, your brother, Keanu, you, Ev Ting, you guys would all come by and you started from there and then you started traveling. And so we've always been kind of in the same circles, but we hadn't really got to hang out much.
Yeah.
But with the Lumpinee shows, we've been chatting every week and everything. And it's really good to get to do this and sit down and have a podcast with you.
Man. It's an honor.
You're an OG, bro.
Bro, you know what I was just thinking about? When I talk about pioneers, my brother was the first ever sanctioned professional bout in Malaysia.
Really?
He fought AJ. I don't know if you know AJ Pyro. Fought for ONE back in the day. Way back. Mitch fought him, actually.
Oh, really?
But my brother fought him when he was 16. He got paid like $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first ever sanctioned fight in Malaysia.
So then you are pioneers, you are OGs.
I suppose.
You're still in your 30s though.
Yeah.
But in terms of like mixed martial arts taking off in Southeast Asia, with of course the rise of ONE being the biggest thing, and then you're 10 years in, what show did you make your pro debut in?
6.
6, so ONE Championship 6 or whatever they... Do you remember
No, wait. It was 6 or 9. Less than 10, anyways. It was 6 or 9. It's been a while.
Yeah, so you've been with the company for so long. And now you, along with Mitch Chilson, are doing the commentary for Lumpinee. And I just got to ask, I'm sure the listeners would love to know, like, dude, what's it like to be able to sit there and call the fights? I mean, the Muay Thai fights in particular are just fucking crazy every time. Like, every single time there's wars, tons of knockouts, small 4-ounce gloves, and it's really sort of paving the new way of Muay Thai in Thailand. Yeah. It's a completely new thing. It's never been done before. And, you get to call these fights every week, man. What's that like?
It's insane, man, to get the opportunity to do it, especially with Mitch, who's been in the game for a minute. And he's been, like, really guiding me through commentating. I've been doing commentating for a while now. I did the One Warrior series for Rich Franklin. I did One Hero series, the one they did in China. So I've done, like, over 20 shows. Did, like, 2. I did the couple ONE shows as well. But this was really, like, a every week thing. Yeah, this is a good gig. But in terms of the fight, man, the fights are crazy. I think it's because when you look at the level of Muay Thai in Thailand, it's at a really high level, right? It's cultural. It's historic for them, and man, even when you look at the stories, right? We get to interview these guys every week. A lot of them start fighting in like 7, 8 years old. It's out of necessity, right? They're fighting to feed their families, fighting to help their families, like get a better life. So by the time they get to like 17, 18, 19, 20, they all have like 100 fights, 150 fights, 200 fights, and the level is like so. Imagine like an MMA fighter having 200 fights, you know what I mean? Like that's the level that these guys are fighting at. And what ONE is bringing in is ONE Lumpinee, ONE Friday Fights is they're giving them an opportunity to earn these bonuses, right? Which is $10,000 and 350,000 baht. And when we speak to them about that, they're saying this is like life-changing money, right? This is just a bonus, and the big thing is the contract worth $100,000. Yeah. Cumulatively. What's the word?
Cumulatively.
Cumulatively, that's the word. That's, you know what I mean?
I guess I don't know.
yeah. But that's the end of the rainbow, right?
Yeah, that's more money than they would ever get paid on any of these other shows.
Well, even with just a bonus, right? They're literally fighting for their lives, and I think that's what has made the show so special. Is these guys coming in hungry, really hungry to take that next step, right? Yeah. And I think it's special to be a part of it. You've seen it yourself.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
And I think the combination of just the fact that they're in small gloves, the fact that these bonuses are so much more than they would have ever made in like 50 fights, 100 fights. Yeah. So Dude, I don't know what the difference in like the knockout rate between like Lumpinee and the other shows at Lumpinee, but I would guess it would be like at least 30 to 40% higher.
It's high.
I mean, there's always so many finishes. It's so fucking exciting because they're fighting for so much, and the pay scale when they get those bonuses is so much higher.
It's insane.
Than they would get without it.
Like one big example I always go back to, obviously when you look past the superstars like Rotang, Tao and Chai, these guys like super leg guys that super bond even, right? They have their own gyms now, multiple houses, right? They're living like celebrities, like rightfully so, right? Because they've earned it. They're literally the best guys in the world. But like Seksan, who is like a veteran of the sport, he's like 33 years old, which is pretty young in terms of like MMA, but
he's an animal.
But in Thailand, that's old, right? He's supposed to be done, and he was like had some multiple Fight of the Year awards, but at the end of his career didn't have much. Like, was still struggling and didn't know how to like provide for his family past fighting because that's all he knew. Came to ONE Variety Fights, and since getting here has made over 3 million baht, which is like I don't know what 3 million baht is.
300,000?
Something like that, something like that. A lot of money basically, but that's life-changing money for him, right? That's like saved towards like the education of his kids in the future. This is such, and everybody wants to get there.
And his fights are wars. Like, they're so fucking entertaining. I mean, he's still got those in the gas tank. That's one of the other great things about Lumpinee is some of these guys who are legends that nobody really knows of outside of Thailand or like really dedicated Muay Thai fans. They're starting to get these guys in their 30s, like Nongo, Samay, Seksan, these guys that most people thought were done but are like legends in Muay Thai are finally getting a chance to showcase themselves to like a global audience, and you're starting to build superstars out of this. I mean, the fact that the whole production is in English, that you and Mitch are doing it, it's really great production quality. It's fucking free on YouTube for anybody to see. You guys can give the background on like, hey, these guys are multiple time Lumpinee champions. These guys are fighter of the years. These guys have had, this is their third time fighting. Like, you just miss so much context when you're trying to find this stuff as a Muay Thai fan before ONE. Like, now you can go back, you can watch these fights. You guys tell a great backstory. It looks fucking amazing. Small gloves. I mean, years down the line, this is the best Muay Thai product that there is, especially as a foreigner.
I think that's what it is, right? Because the Thais in Thailand or Muay Thai enthusiasts, they know these guys. But the global fans who don't know much about Muay Thai, don't know much about the different styles of Muay Thai, for example. Right now you've heard like the Muay Khap, Muay Famur, Muay Bu, Muay Buk, so many different styles, Muay Thai, like all the, one is for a kicker, one's for an elbow guy, one's
It's so great that you guys say that too.
Like it's been a learning experience for me, especially, right? Because I know about MMA, right? And I've been watching boxing, kickboxing since I was a kid, but Muay Thai in its pure form, I would say like getting to ONE Friday Fights was, I've always been a fan of Muay Thai. Living in Thailand for 2 years, I was able to like train and watch the fights, the local fights there, but Lumpinee was always like the pinnacle, right? When you say like, oh, that guy's a Lumpinee champ, it's like, oh, damn, really? Lumpinee champ. Even when you were a kid, right, you knew that was like the top, right?
Yeah, when I first started training in Canada, that was always the one everybody talked about. And then when I moved to Singapore and started training with Thais, it was always like Lumpinee was always considered the pinnacle and the tip of the spear. It was like this mythical place that I'd heard about, like in the fucking, like it was like in the ether, but just this mythical place that I know exists, but there's no way I'd ever like be there. And then I remember the first show, I was like, this is fucking crazy. I can't believe I'm at Lumpinee Stadium right now.
Same. I got called in to commentate after the show number 3 for ONE Friday Fights, right? And I mean, I always knew I could do a good job. Obviously, I wasn't able to commentate because COVID happened. So there was like a period of like 2.5 years where I wasn't commentating. But I had just co-founded a gym in Bali, so I was a head coach for like a bunch of like high-level guys, and I think that experience running a whole team, a business, and like coaching gave me so much more experience coming back into it. So when I came back to it, show number 3, it was the best show I ever done. And I haven't done it for 2.5 years. Like, damn, I think it was just a combination of like experience and maturity. I'm getting older as well, right?
And you're getting a lot of reps.
Yeah, reps especially. Right?
Bro, we were talking about this after the fights a couple weeks ago. I mean, how many shows have you done?
This
was it 24?
This 25 now. I will be 22 now.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, you're fairly new to commentary. You've done it obviously before, but most major MMA promotions will only do like a show a month, maybe the big ones. And the fact that you're getting like 4, 3, 4 in a month.
It's insane, yeah.
But you can see the quality improving. Like you and Mitch are getting your chemistry. Like the quality of the product is just getting better and better as it continues to go on. I mean, I remember being there for like the first show I did was the second show, and everybody's still trying to figure everything out. It's like only the second show, but now it's humming.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got like your core group of guys. You guys, you know how the show goes, the flow, and the dynamics, the chemistry between everybody. It's fun, right? It's definitely a fun group to work with, especially you know, like the staff, from the judging to the floor managers. Everybody's been like so cool, and it feels like a family. I always tell people, man, like one is like going back to school, right? You don't see him for like a couple months, and then you go back. It's like, oh, what's up, man? How's your summer, right? Like it feels like school, because you're all doing the same thing, man. We all like a part of like martial arts, or if you're not taking pictures of martial arts, telling a story about martial arts, you're teaching martial arts. You know what I mean? So it's cool, man, to be a part of this whole production.
Yeah, and I don't think you're joking about that either. Like, it sounds a little bit cliche, but honestly, dude, when I first started working at ONE, it was the first like corporate like company that I've worked for in years. Because I was a teacher in my like mid-20s, and then when I started doing jiu-jitsu, teaching MMA and everything, now I have my own gym, and I've been running like that for years. So I haven't like had a boss or been in like a corporate sort of environment for years. And when I first started, I was like, fuck, I don't know these people. This is awesome, but you don't really know anybody. But yeah, I mean, in particular, the Lumpinee crew, like when I come here, it's like seeing everybody's so friendly, everybody's so nice. They're all huge martial arts fans. There's like people coming in that are like coming from Australia and coming from Europe and
crazy, man.
Singapore, all over the place, just to get together and like put on a dope show. And the whole crew is just so fucking cool. Yeah. That's why I like doing the podcast with you. I was like, fuck yeah, let me run out some more too, because you mentioned Rob. Yeah, bro. Rob Cox is one of the executives.
The man. Yeah, he's the man.
And he used to actually do commentary for Lumpinee Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, journalist for a long time. If you look at a lot of early like Muay Thai, English Muay Thai documentaries, it was Rob, man. Like Rob like put him out there, like telling the story about like Muay Thai, it was Wakao, Senchai, what's the guy's name? Was it knockout guy? I mean, Apiwat. I could be getting his name wrong. Back in the Wachar Kel Summer gym, like it was all like all these gyms, right? Like you see the old school like tires and like the country gyms. It's cool, man. Like he's got so much knowledge into it. I spoke to him like briefly. We had like a 40-minute conversation. It wasn't that brief actually. So like he was telling me these stories about like promoters and like the gamblers and the stadiums and the politics of it all, right? It's like, bro, it's such a crazy little network and web. Yeah. But it's important to the growth of everything, right?
Yeah, it's interesting too, because he's been there for both phases of Lumpinee. Like he worked at the old stadium, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and now he's
as a journalist.
So yeah, Rob Cox is one of our one of the executives at ONE, and he does a lot. He speaks Thai, which is cool.
Fluent,
Yeah, and so you were mentioning, we'll see if we can get Rob on the podcast. But that's one of the great things now. We're in the 20th show, kind of know everybody, and if I can get guys like you and Rob on the podcast and sort of get out like in a casual, long form conversation. Some of the stories is such an interesting perspective for all of the people that meet up here.
Yeah, Timo as well, man. If we can get Timo on the show, I'm sure Timo has some crazy stories.
I'll get them all. I mean, if they're willing,
oh my goodness,
if they're willing, I'll do it, man.
That would be like insane. It'd be cool.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this one, man. And guys, we're sorry if the audio is a little bit shit. This is the first time we've done it.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've done a podcast in the hotel room, and we're just using the iPhone mics. So in the future, hopefully the production quality will be a little bit higher.
Yeah, come on, look forward to it.
But I also want to talk, Gianni, about your sort of career as a fighter as well. Because how many fights have you had in ONE? 10, 11,
12.
12 fights.
12 fights, 1 championship. Yeah.
Was your first fight in ONE?
My first professional fight was in ONE. So I made my pro debut in 1 championship. I only ever had 1 amateur fight, and it was in a gym, and it was a kung fu seminar at the time. And there was probably like 30 people in there.
Wait, there was a kung fu seminar going on at the same time as yours?
No, it was after the fight, and I remember so clearly, bro. So like the kung fu guy, I forgot his name, not important, right? But super cocky, like his hands are on the side, like you know, like who are these chumps over here, like fighting? You know what I mean? Like, who is this guy, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember the kung fu guy's name, but still, like, you know what I mean? Just be humble. Like, it always like comes back to like martial arts and like how you gonna be a kung fu master or a professor of anything, and like you're supposed to bring like humility. I don't know why that sticks out so much in my mind. Not more than the fight itself. As this kung fu guy crossed legs, like leaning, like he doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I don't care about that fight. Another dude, you know what I mean? Like, just at least cheer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had my only 1 amateur fight. That was in the gym for 30 people. My brother was there, and I was 66 kilos at the time. And the way I got this fight was I was going to school in Hawaii. After this, I came back for summer. At the time, I was going to school in America, right? I was born in Hawaii, and I never got to go back to Hawaii since I left at 3 or 4. So I wanted to go back to school in Hawaii, right? That's university. So after high school, came back to Malaysia. I'd been training pretty consistently since I was in MMA since I was like 16, I'd say. And I started martial arts when I was 9 years old, doing taekwondo and all that stuff, and never stopped. So when I think I was 18 at the time, they had this, I messaged this gym. I was like, hey, I want to have a fight. Do you have anyone for me? And they sent me a list, right? It was like, they had this little tournament. I forgot what it was called. And it was, they had this tournament and there was champions, right? And they sent me a list of the champions. And there was this guy, he was 84 kilos, he was big. It's like, I want to fight that guy.
84 kilos?
84 kilos. But obviously now, like, I wouldn't.
Didn't you fight at like 58 or 57?
57 kilos,
57
yeah. It doesn't
kilos.
make sense, bro. I was 18 at the time. I thought I was the guy, right? I was 66 kilos. I'm like, I want to fight that guy. The biggest guy.
The biggest
so I
guy.
fight this big dude, man. Like,
Wait, what was the weight
ready.
difference?
I was 66. He was fighting at 84.
20 kilo difference?
Close to, right? Yeah, close to. And then in my head, I was the man, right? And I had no concept of like a training camp. I was just doing sprints, hitting pads, and like training with my brother. Maybe spar. I don't even know if I even sparred that much. But no camp, right?
Yeah.
Just sprinting. And I thought, I'm like, oh, I'm in shape. I get in there. It was my first ever real fight. I have had like taekwondo and wrestling experience.
This was amateur MMA, so
This was amateur. I was
shin
pads and the shuto gloves. But when I got in there, bro, I was scared, man. Like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, I was scared. I remember, like, I think the whole fight I probably landed 2 punches. But immediately, this fucking guy kicked me really hard. It's like, fuck it, I'm taking him down.
Yeah.
I took him down. I ended up winning by submission in the 3rd round, but I was so tired. I remember I couldn't even celebrate, bro. It was like adrenaline and everything, bro. I was like, couldn't even like celebrate. I was like barely like passing out. But that was my only ever amateur fight. And after that, I went to school in Hawaii, and I was training pretty consistently at this point, but I wasn't able to train when I got to Hawaii because I got a scholarship for my first semester, and I had to work, right? Because I had to pay for school myself.
Yeah.
And I obviously was lucky to get a job in Hawaii. Funny enough, I worked at the Polynesian Cultural Center.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and there's two options, right? I was at the job center every day for seven days. I needed to get a job, and on the 7th day, it's like, oh yeah, we got an opening. There's 2 options. You want to be a dishwasher, or you want to be a dancer at the Polynesian Cultural Center.
Dishwasher or dancer?
Dishwasher or dancer.
Those are your options?
I fuck that, bro. I'm gonna go dance. You know
Fuck yeah. Give me
I
a dance.
I get there, like
Dishwasher?
I get the interview with this Tahitian lady. Oh my god, just bringing back so many memories. I get to the village, right? It's cultural center, right? So you're displaying and you're demonstrating all different cultures of Polynesia. There's Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Tahiti. What else was there? I think that was Hawaii. Obviously the main ones, right? And I get there, and this Tahitian lady asked me, "Do you know how to dance?" I mean, not really. You know how to play the drums? Not really, but I'm willing to learn. If you show me, I'll learn. It's like, all right, come back tomorrow. So I got the job, right? So I was able to do that job, but I couldn't train because the closest gym was... And Hawaii has a big fighting culture as well, right?
Yeah.
And I was super excited to be able to train in Hawaii. But with school and work, the closest gym was an hour and a half away by bus. I just didn't have the chance to, man. So I just lifted weights for majority of the year. And then at the time, my brother was back in Malaysia because my cousin who passed away at the time, he was still alive, was really sick. So my brother was in Malaysia. He was training at the OG Muay Thai. You know Muay Thai? You remember Muay Thai? Muay Thai was the first... Polina.
Yeah,
Polina was the first American wrestling coach, I believe, in Malaysia, right? At 18, 19 years old, right? He lands in Malaysia. And then my brother at the time was like training there with those teams, bro, like OG guys, like
that's what I'm talking about, pioneer shit, right?
Yeah, Eric Kelly, right? Eric Kelly was like OG, right? Eric Kelly, I think Arnaud Lepont, who else was there?
When did Ev Ting come in and start training?
So Ev was a little bit later. Ev was clinch days.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is
before
is the
that.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
This was before that. And then my brother had an opportunity to get this contract with them. In OG days, bro. I'm going back there. You remember Dare?
Dare?
Dare.
Oh yeah, the promotion Dare.
OG, right?
Yeah, I do
Super
remember
old
Dare.
school.
Yeah, that's old school.
And they wanted to sign my brother. My brother was like maybe 17 at the time.
17.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, you know, my brother got this contract, and that was the one that kicked it off for me. Like, bro, I was in school at the time.
That's when you were like, I gotta make this a priority.
Yeah, I gotta try, man, because like all I wanted to do in my life was at least try. I didn't know I was gonna be a professional fighter. I didn't know I was gonna make a career. All I know is I wanted to try, right?
Isn't it crazy how you go from one place, like you're in Hawaii studying, wanting to train, fast forward 10 years, and you're like,
crazy,
what a
man.
fucking crazy ride.
Crazy, but
you know?
I think the one big thing you gotta always, for me, like when I look back at it now, like imagine if I didn't take that risk. Imagine if I stayed in school doing something that, it made my parents happy, or made the people around me happy, you know what I mean? But I never, it was too strong, like this pull, you know what I mean? Like I had to try it.
And you bet on yourself.
I bet on myself, right? That's the thing. Like you gotta bet on you, bro. Like, especially now with like opening a new business, I've had the opportunity to open one. Now I have the opportunity to restart and open another one, and so it's about having balls, right? Like everybody's the same. I don't think anybody's special, right? It's about people that have the balls to do it and then executing it. That's the end of the day, right?
You got to be able to risk the failure of something. If you're going to try something, there's an inherent risk of failure that some people won't accept. So they'll stay in that comfortable lane. But yeah, you get, I mean, with fighters, with people that kind of have that disposition, because it's a risk it all profession. Like you're literally risking your health, risking getting embarrassed in front of everybody that you know, like fucking physically harmed. Like it's so much pressure. So the people that have a disposition to do that are typically the type of people who are willing to bet on themselves. You know. And
I think that's why like I really connected with Bali. I'm getting off on a tangent, but it's because like there's so many people that like Bali is such a like artistic place, right? There's like people that work there as artists, and people that work there as like fashion designers, people that work there as surfers, right? There's all people that bet on themselves, like you said, right? And I think I really connect with people there because I understand it, right? Like you have to give everything up. You had to, at one point, bro, have nothing.
Yeah.
And still do it, you know what I mean? Like, I hadn't, 5 fights into one championship, I had my friends come up, so when are you gonna get a real job?
Yeah.
And this is like one of the biggest promotions at the world. I was 5 fights in, I was doing well. I probably like only lost 1 fight, it's 4-1. I was up and coming, right? And I still had people tell me, yo, when are you gonna get a real job? You know what I mean? It's like, damn, like you don't understand, right?
You know
like,
this party's gonna end at some point.
Yeah, but you
doesn't
don't
have to.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? And I would willingly do it again and again because that's what I want to do. Versus you, like your mom and dad paid for your school, right? Or for example, right, someone paid for your school, and why do you do what you do? I don't know, because it was the only option.
Yeah.
Right. What do you enjoy? What you do?
That's so important.
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like, nah, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I only want to do. No, obviously, sometimes you got to do things that you don't like to do. That's normal. It's part of life. But majority of the time, you want to spend your time doing what you enjoy, what you're passionate about, right? So, I was able to do that through fighting, and
dude.
into Hawaii, I made that leap. I left school, and I remember telling my mom at the time, like, hey, she's like, my mom, I'm not from a real traditional Asian family. My mom, my dad, like, traveled the world, and they're very, you know, they didn't really put too many limits on us. They're very, very encouraging. Yeah. And I remember, like, I think I've told a story on this to Justin before. You know Justin from Rituals?
Justin
Sadell, black belt under Olavo.
And he's in Bali?
He's in Bali. He's
no,
Rituals Jiu-Jitsu. He's a good dude, super smart guy. Very great, very good coach. I told the story, right? I was 14, 15 at the time, going to school in Malaysia, and I was always into sports, right? I loved basketball at the time, and I was always, after school, my mom would pick me up late from school because she had to work. It's like, whatever, I'll just play basketball by myself in the heat. Just throw, shoot. And then this teacher comes up to me, pulls me into the room, brings my mom, and is like, look, your son's spending too much time in sports. I think he should, you know, try to redirect his energy into studying more. You know, try to go to university, get a good education, get a good job. It's like, you know, because what he's gonna do? You think he's gonna be a professional athlete?
Yeah.
And my mom said, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
My mom said, why not? I was like, damn. Like my mom usually is like pretty reserved, but when she said like, all right, it gave me the confidence. You know what I mean? And that was the moment. Yeah. And I was like, bro, these are people that support me. You know what I mean? And I know no matter what I do, right? Because at the end of the day, when you go back to even life now, right? Outside of fighting, and no matter what industry you're in, like, it's the people around you that really matters, right? The people that are really behind you. That's what really matters. It doesn't really... I don't give a fuck about what people think about me, you know what I mean? I don't really care about if you think I'm an idiot, or you think my commentary is dumb, or you think you think I don't know how to fight. I don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna do my thing and trying to get better at it, you know what I mean? Because the people that care about me will support me no matter what, right? And I think that's came through that support group and like fighting and believing, like betting on yourself, man. That's what like fighting has taught me, I think, and carrying me into other things.
Dude, you mentioned the sort of like the freedom that you get when you can actually be yourself and do the shit that you want to do.
Yeah.
I remember like 3 years ago, for the first time in my life, I felt free. And it wasn't because I was like making money. It wasn't because of...
When you opened up the business?
It was because for the first time in my entire life, I got paid to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I didn't have a boss telling me what to do. I don't have anybody breathing down my neck. I don't have to go here and have to listen to any of this stuff. Like, I'm getting paid to do what I would be doing, whether or not anybody paid me at all.
Yeah.
And so I started the podcast at the same time, opened up the gym, because I'm like, what would I want to do with my life? If I could just do whatever I wanted to do, what would it be doing? It would be podcasting, training, and then being in fucking a judge at ONE, right? So like literally, I probably couldn't draw it up any better. And the fact that I realized one day, it's just such a weight off your shoulders when you can do the things that you want to do throughout your day.
Yeah.
But it still took 10 years of eating shit to get there. I mean, I started off teaching only the kids classes, like when I was a purple belt, right? Just 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And I worked, and I did that for years. There's just little kids running around, and I'm just like trying and working it up and working. So I went through that phase of like, it's work, but you're looking for a goal. And after 10 years of that, being able to actually be like, man, the fact that I get to do what I want with my day is just such a gift. It's such a weight off the soul. When you don't have to like go to this job that you don't want to do to get a paycheck and just live in this life that's like whatever, when you can actually build that for yourself, fuck, it's just, you can breathe. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%. But the big lesson here is like the 10 years of like fucking doing shit that you don't want to do. Yeah. Is it the fucking years that you have nothing?
Gotta pay your dues.
You have to pay your dues, right? Like, you didn't get here because you had 1 month of hardship and you're like, I'm past that 1 month, and now I get to do what I do. It was 10 years, right? Like you said. And for me, it was the same, right? Me and my brother, I remember at one point, like, again, like multiple fights into one championship, not much money, bro. And we were eating the same meal.
Especially in those days. Dinner. I mean, just starting up. Right?
Yeah, bro. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Every day the same meal for a whole camp. And I was like, bro, did it ever deter you from doing what you want to do? No, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I get to it now where like I have the freedom to do what I like to do, right? But it also came from that sacrifice and doing the hard stuff, that doing the things you don't like to do. I think too many people now, like, there's just one gif always, right? It's a picture of these two people in a diamond mine, right? And they're digging. And one guy gets so close to the diamonds, but he gives up, he stops. But the guy on top, he doesn't stop. He keeps going and going and going and going. It takes longer, but he eventually gets to the diamonds, right? I think the metaphor is like, this is what it is, right? You gotta like trust it, man. You gotta trust that you have patience, have perseverance, determination to get what you want to get, and then everything will come.
Yeah, but it's also that inherent risk comes in of like but at some point you're gonna have to bet on yourself.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Because you have to forego the like traditional job route. You have to forego the security that you get from like, you know, working for whatever the fuck. And yeah, it's a risky game. But that's why it's cool to see people like you. And when you have a gathering of all the people that do Lumpinee, for example, or all the people that do the ONE Prime shows, the fact that you're getting, you know, Olivier's coming from France, and you got Herb's coming in, and you're here, Mitch is coming here, people in from Singapore, and we're all just coming in for the love of the fight game. Yeah. And you get to just watch these awesome fights. I mean, there's great fights tonight. You're doing the ONE Lumpinee, and then in the morning is the Prime show. Superlek, my favorite fighter, is fighting in the main event.
That's gonna be
Gary Tonin is fighting.
That's a great fight too. That card is insane, man. That card's insane. I'm interested to see, man, because Gasanov is tough, but he's a Dagestani wrestler, right? Yeah. A lot of Dagestani wrestlers struggle against really good jiu-jitsu guys, right? Guys that will threaten them when they get to the ground. And I think the biggest factor will be who does better when they get to the ground. Can Gary Tonin put him in like positions where he threatens him. He's definitely good enough to do it, but MMA is such a different game.
Yeah.
Like you saw, like he got knocked out by Tan D, right? You go for the leg, you leave yourself open, bang.
And what a sniper of a shot too.
Crazy.
I mean, it's tough to get it that precise.
He's got mad power,
Yeah,
though, you know.
There's a whip to that.
He's a violent motherfucker, man. He's tough. And you're gonna do a rematch soon. Tankai and
Oh, is that what they're?
Yeah.
And then maybe if Gary wins or the Russian guy wins, would fight whoever wins that fight.
Yeah, but you see Martin Gens being like, they both think they're gonna get a title shot, but they gotta get past me first.
Yeah.
And I
just
respect
re-signed
it.
too.
Yeah.
Martin just re-signed, right?
He did. He
Nice.
deserves it, man. I was speaking to him a little bit about like his frustrations, you know, just trying to get like what he believes he's worth, and I agree with him. You know,
Yeah.
bro, he's the
Two-time
guy who's gonna
champion.
face 2-time champion. He did whatever.
Double
Tried to go
division.
3-time champion. You know what I mean? He's been pushing highlight reels. You know, like definitely part of the growth of like ONE in its recent years, online as well, right?
Yeah.
So for him to get like, I think it was a pretty good new contract.
Nice.
Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think the narrative now for ONE is like also like Stamp and Rawtech. I don't know if you saw, right? They now have disclosed that they're gonna make 10 million baht. Was it 10 million baht? Something like that. That's close to 300 grand.
Wow.
Yeah. So that Rawtech's confirmed. I think Stamp just came out and said that. I think the numbers may plus or minus, but
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much set.
That's so great, man.
Huge, right? In
Yeah.
Asia, right? Imagine, bro, back in the day, when I first started fighting, I
What was
fought
your-
for peanuts, man.
Yeah. My first fight, I got paid $500. My
Yeah.
first pro fight.
I got paid more, but not much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my first fight, I didn't get paid shit. So it's like your first,
Yeah, exactly,
first amateur fight, you don't get paid anything.
Yeah, I got paid at all.
Just
Yeah.
get free brain damage. That's all
Yeah.
you're getting when you fight amateur.
Bruised everywhere.
I wanted to ask you. I wanted to go back. You mentioned earlier when you were talking about your pro or your amateur debut. You talked about like kind of the fear of the like when you're in the situation, you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit. And then you had your pro debut. Which one did you get like more stress and anxiety for? And then like, yeah, I love it when fighters like describe honestly like the feeling before a fight, because so many, when you watch it on TV, you don't really understand that like the fear,
The emotion.
the nerves, the anxiety, the fear of failure,
Yeah.
all that kind of shit. So I'm curious of like what your experience was, like the difference there between your first actual ever fight and your first professional fight.
You know, I would. My professional debut is like. It's really special to me because, like, man, I've always been a fan of the sport, right? Like MMA, kickboxing, K1, especially used to watch like K1 highlights, Andy Sauer, like Walkout, all these guys, right? And then my first ever professional fight on the card was Shinya Oki, Melvin Manhoff, and then who else was it? A couple big guys on the card, right? And another Pancrase champ. And this was my first introduction into like the professional scene, right? I was fighting the same Singaporean guy in Singapore named Bruce Lowe.
Didn't you soccer kick him?
So yeah, so I got to win the fight by in like 30 seconds, which thankfully I won.
Was that the
right?
check hook soccer kick?
Yeah. Thankfully I
that
won
was a dope
one.
knockout, dude.
Yeah.
He just went bang, check hook, and then as soon as he
Yeah.
went down, boom. That's back when you could
I've
punt.
never practiced that in my life.
Really?
In my life.
Your
Like,
reaction time was
fast,
spot on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've always had good reaction. I think that's what saved me from that fight because.
that's probably the only ever check hook soccer kick in MMA history. Like that particular combination, I don't think I've ever. You dropped him with that check hook, stepped right up, one step,
Yeah.
bang, punt to the head.
Yeah.
Back in the OG days when you could still soccer kick.
I'm so glad they took it up because
You have 2 soccer kick knockouts,
I
I
had
think.
two, both at the same check hook soccer kick.
That's insane.
But yeah, I'm so happy they took it out because like man,
What a great combo.
that shit was coming back for sure. Someone's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
soccer
yeah.
kick me someday, you know what I
It
mean?
giveth and it taketh, you know, the soccer kick.
Yeah, but they took it out, man.
So yeah, on the fear thing.
Yeah, to be honest, my pro debut was I was almost like wow, you know what I mean? It felt like a dream to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, with the whole process of it was, I had no concept of what a show was gonna feel like, what a stadium with 10,000 people would feel like. I mean, bro, I
And the
had no-
contrast from the gym with the kung fu guy who's being a dick to like one championship in the indoor
being
stadium.
treated like a star, getting picked up at the airport with my cornerman, my team, and then like having like a photo shoots, video shoots, media day, like interviews. Like, bro, what the fuck is this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just came from kung fu guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Into this, and then so for me, it was like, whoa, you know what I mean? It was cool, signing posters and all that stuff.
So that alleviated a little bit of the fear because it was just cool.
I was just in the moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in the moment, having to walk out, and then like the opening ceremony. Like, you know what I mean? It was all, it was just like so much thrown at me. You know what I mean? And so I was like, bro, I was kind of overwhelmed.
sensory overload.
Overload.
Right?
That's 100% what it is. And then got to the cut weight with like Melvin Manhoff and all these guys, right?
Oh yeah.
It was my first time ever cutting weight, right? Still, to this day, I remember, bro. I have no concept of nutrition at that point.
Yeah.
I went to Thailand for a camp. Didn't eat carbs for 3 weeks.
Oof.
Felt terrible.
Yeah.
Makes sense now, right? Why did I feel terrible, right? Because I was in shape and I was training so much.
No carbohydrates also.
No carbohydrates. My glycogen stores are probably zero, bro. I wasn't even eating fruit, you know what I mean? And no sugars were probably like zero, right? But I was dying, bro. It was terrible. I was getting beat up at the gym. I remember sitting like in the room after, like, because I thought it was the guy, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you know, I trained in Malaysia, you know, I feel good. I beat up some guys and local guys. But when I got to Thailand, it was like all the American guys, the Russian guys, like European guys, and I got beat up, you know.
Yeah.
First week of camp, I remember sitting at the end of the camp, looking into this mirror at the gym, like, damn, do I really want to do this? You know what I mean? Can I really do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. People don't understand the mindset of like a young professional fighter because you're not that good yet, but you're trying to be. So there's a psychological thing that happens because when you're a young fighter, you're really hungry and you put in the work. But you're losing so much in the gym that you don't really have a good concept of like where you stand relative to your opponent because you're still new. Like so, all of the other older pro fighters are kicking your ass every day. And then so you're losing most of your matches against the good people in the gym, and then you got to go and fight somebody. You think you're better. You think you're better than them, even though by experience you're getting your ass whipped by everybody, and you just have to. Isn't it a crazy psychological thing?
It's crazy.
Now, when you get really good, you know because once you start to become a top dude in the gym, and then you start beating those people, and then you're like, okay, now I'm getting some confidence because my skills are getting good. But that first bit, when you get
the development of the skills, that part sucks. It's like jujitsu, man. When you first start jujitsu, you're a white belt, bro. You used to get fucked up every day. Like, why the fuck would I continue doing this?
Exactly.
Right? But then you get better, and then you find your flow, and you find your little game that you like. Then it becomes fun, right?
But it takes like 6 months at least before you start having like any success.
That's why like fighting is so good for the ego. I mean, some people obviously are pieces of shit. Like, it doesn't help them, but most of the time, like when you go into like martial arts, you fight any type of like combat sport, right? It humbles you because there's always some guy bigger and better. You know what I mean?
And getting your ass whooped is a humbling,
100%. And
thing.
to come back from that every day.
With a smile on your face. You know,
with a good attitude, right?
Exactly.
That's been hard, and I forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, the fear.
The fear, right.
So you're stepping into the fight there. Like, tell me what's going through your head there.
Tired, cutting weight, and luckily I made it. I did the wrong thing, recovering. Obviously, I didn't know. I smashed like a steak and a pasta after.
Feel bloated as shit.
Couldn't walk. The first time in my life, I couldn't walk from eating so much.
You're really like, oh, this is bad.
This is bad, right, bro? I literally had to hold on to my dad and like.
I did the same thing in my pro debut. Same exact thing. Ate so much that I literally thought I might have to go force myself to throw up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was at that point where, do I just throw up now and feel better?
That's the eating disorder.
But then in my head, it's like, well, if I throw up, then I'm lighter.
Yeah, that's sick. What a sick mentality to have. Yeah, I need all the fucking steak weight I can get. Shit.
Yeah, bro, fuck, it's terrible, right?
So you don't feel great.
I don't feel great, but the next day...
there's this spectacle that's happening around you.
I remember fight day, right? Get there, right? It's fight day. I have like sponsor shirts. I have my Malaysian flag. You know, I'm repping Malaysia. And I walk out, and I just hear... like this raw, right? And I'm smiling, and I'm laughing, like, oh shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's a video of me, like, walking out. I'm just having the biggest smile on my face, right? Because, like, oh man, this is cool. This is real, you know? And I walk out there, and they lock the door, and I see this dude across from me. He's looking big, he's looking strong. I'm like, oh shit.
When did the nerves kick in for you? It's like right before you walk out?
Before you walk out, and I think right before they announce your name.
Yeah, while you're just waiting there.
While you're waiting there, you're pacing, right?
Yeah.
And then they say your name, there. And then you're locked in, right? I think that's the moment for me. When you walk out, you're locked in.
Yeah.
But the pacing part before the fight, a little bit nerves, right? Because now you see the guy in front of you, you're sizing him up. You know what he's doing because you've done the work. You know what I mean? You know what he's good at. But now it's like who gets to implement their game, right? Who gets to get off their game, right? And sometimes it's not even about that, man. Sometimes it's about who's feeling better that night, right? Because so many times where there's better guys, but say they have off day, say they fucking have food poisoning, you know.
And there's physical things, there's psychological things.
Yeah, exactly. You got some shit happening
there.
at home, you know what I mean? Like, well, how do you lock that out and go, right? So, lock the cage and boom, I was there. And I remember
once the fight starts, the nerves are kind of gone because you're so present.
Yeah, you have to be I tell people all the time, right? You gotta have like an alter ego when you fight.
Totally.
It's so important to have
Yeah.
that because like
Absolutely.
when you me and you now we're you're chilling, right? We're cruising. We're not doing like we're chilling, having a good time, having a great conversation. Nothing, right? But when you fight, you have to bring out that like I'm here to hurt you. You know, you have to have that.
You have to emotionally detach from the situation.
Yeah, it's like why are you trying to hurt me? I'm not. This is the objective of this sport, and I'm trying to win. You know what I mean? I will work within the boundaries of the sport. But the goal is for me to knock you out, for me to submit you, for me to win, right? And I'm good at that, right? And I need to have that, or else you're gonna do it to me, right?
Yeah.
It's who gets it first, right? Who lines it up? Who gets the angle? Who gets the takedown? Who gets submission? Right? It's the same, right? So I remember, I think I started out. I feel good, right? I feel light, and I hit him with like a couple shots. I'm feeling good, and he comes back and he lands like one punch and one body kick. It's like, oh, that hurt a little bit, right? But then I think that gave him a confidence to step in too hard. I think because he was like, this young kid, 19 years old, I'm the guy. He was like teaching the army combat at the time or whatever. Bro, he steps in too hard, and I got a good check.
The angle, bang, check off.
I check him, and then he goes down. And I wasn't even like thinking about it, like kicking him, and it was done.
Yeah. And what was that feeling like? Like soccer kicking another human in front of like 10,000 people.
For me, it wasn't even like the shot itself, but it was the fight ending.
Yes. Yeah. The relief.
The relief, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, like you gotta remember, like I left school. I told my mom, look, give me 2 years. If I'm not good at this, I'll go back to school, right? But let me try, right? And she couldn't really do anything at the point because I was already paying for school and I was like working, you know what I mean? But like I obviously want to keep my mom happy, right? Want to like, you always want to keep your mom happy, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I'm 19 years old now. I'm gonna fight for 2 years. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to school at 21. Fair.
Yeah.
Good deal. And then I worked so hard. Me and my brother trained. I remember, because we were at 18, 19 at the time, you could do that, right? It's sustainable. We trained Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Twice a day, Monday to Sunday.
Really,
sometimes 3 times a day.
It's really the first, and that's the thing that a lot of people maybe don't understand, is it's the first time really within Southeast Asia that you can like actually pursue a professional career in mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally ONE is the only sustastainable option. It's the only game in town back then. Like otherwise you're just fighting on regional little shows here and there for a little bit of money, but an actual like career path coming out of Southeast Asia, coming out of Malaysia, it was literally never even possible. That's what I mean with the pioneer thing.
It's true.
So when you and your brother are 19 years old and doing that in Malaysia and then ONE just starts, it's like a pretty incredible story because for the first time ever in this region, it's possible.
You're right. Yeah, and that was my goal because I saw ONE popping up, right? And I saw these people that were fighting in ONE at the time, and I believed that I could do better.
And it must have been a huge weight off your shoulders, actually, to get the win and now think, okay, we got something here. Now I can actually pursue this. You must have proved something to yourself, like we can do this now.
I always see it as the door opening.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do things, you got to go and open doors, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's the same now, right? With opportunities and whatever you want, like closed mouth don't get fed, right? You got to go in and open the doors. And for me, I had to win that fight. Look, my trajectory, my direction in life could have been so different, right? If I lost that fight. Imagine I came
one
in,
wrong move.
Yeah, imagine you kicked me in the head, and then I was done. Bro, I wouldn't have ever got another fight with ONE. What would I do? I fight a couple regional shows.
You might not even be here sitting in this hotel today.
Here. Yeah, I might not even be here. Maybe I would have gone back to school, right? Who knows? But it was also like the trust in the gamble, right? Yeah. I'm not a big gambler, but I'll gamble on this, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I know I put in the work to be as physically and mentally possible as I can.
Yeah.
To get there. And I wasn't nervous. The first one was way more nervous, but also because I fought 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The other one I fought like 9 minutes, I think.
So you were more nervous in your first ever fight than
my professional debut.
I tell the story all the time on the podcast. I mean, I was so scared for my pro debut that I literally got like a fight or flight response. Like I started thinking like, oh, I can go in the bathroom and crawl out the window if I need to. Like I can just get new friends. I can just find get a new wife. I'll just move away, change my name. Like the window's right there.
Definitely, bro. I've been there. So many.
Isn't it crazy with the psychological things that start when you're in that, when the nerves start kicking in and you're warming up in the background, and you're just like, oh shit, there's something surreal that happens, like almost kind of like out of body.
Yeah, man.
It's weird, right? You only get that from fighting because the consequences are so severe.
So severe.
That when you step in there, you really do feel like, I cannot believe this is about to fucking happen, right?
Yeah, especially when you're more experienced, right? And you're teaching now, you're teaching other people. Like, the way you fight is also a representation of like your skills, right? And it's not necessarily so, because some guys are great fighters, some guys are great coaches, some guys are just great at running classes, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a true representation of what you do. But there is still that pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
Of like, oh, people that I know and care about will see me fight, and if I lose, they're gonna think I have no worth. You know what I mean? That's been,
you know.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing for me, man. When I got that suspension, I was 25 years old. I was offered to fight for the belt after I beat the Japanese guy, but I didn't take the fight because at that time I thought I had more time. You know what I mean? And I obviously didn't think I was gonna get medically suspended, right? So I was like, you know what? I was supposed to fight Adriano in Beijing. They offered me to fight for the belt after I beat this Japanese guy, but they didn't want to pay me more. I was like, man, I fought so long, so hard to get here. Since I was 19 years old, I had like contracts that I had fought out of and renegotiated into better contracts.
Yeah.
Got here now, you know, I've done the work. I want to get paid more. I was like, nah, if you don't take in 24 hours, we'll find someone else.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead then, you know? So I had more time because, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't think that I would be suspended. But yeah, it was that for me. And then I got to fight Reese and Malaysia. And then after that, I got suspended. So for me, like my whole identity and worth was always around fighting, right? I was always like the fighter, right? But I also hated it at the same time because when I did this shoot, I remember I had to wear a suit, right? But wasn't that great of a suit, you know?
Yeah.
My tie wasn't even straight. It's like, hey, should I fix my tie? And this lady goes, oh no, you're just a fighter.
Oh.
I was like,
Ooh.
Yeah, you mean no, I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is just one part of what I do. I think now, especially I got the opportunity. Obviously, I love fighting. I have a lot of experience in fighting, but I want to do more outside of fighting. You know what I mean? Like commentary is like not what I do. It's one part of what I do. You know what I mean? Like coaching is not what I do. It's one part of what I do. You know what I mean? So, like you said, right now I have like more options and freedom to do what I want to do, and I want to do more of that. But it was hard for me to get past that. This is who I am, and this is all I'm worth is fighting.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it takes such a great amount of focus and effort to get your skill level as a professional fighter to such a high level that you can sustain it as a profession, right? Like if you actually want to compete and like go for a run to try to fight for the belt, it just takes so much of your time and of your energy that very often people can put so much of their identity into that one thing that they find it hard to do some of those other things and diversify their skill set. But you have to. You have to. You have to nowadays, like, because eventually it's a young man's game. I mean, dude, when you hit your mid-30s, 40s at the latest.
Peak. Yeah, that's the peak.
You're done. I mean, you know, once you start inching toward 40, the clock's run out. Well, guess what? I mean, that's half your life if you're lucky. You know, what are you going to do for the rest of it?
It's true.
And the fact that you're now, own a gym. Fucking do the commentary, fight if you want, coach if you want. As many things as you can do that you think are cool and worth your time, that's living the dream.
100%.
It's just do cool shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Get good at it and do it, you know, as much as you can do. Oos.
Let's go.
Okay, we're back, everybody. We just had to check on the time because both of the phones are recording. So, so you mentioned you're opening up a new gym. And have you heard anything? I mentioned this on the last podcast that we have about, like, Lumpinee. This is going to be a long-term thing, right?
Yeah.
They're going to keep doing this and keep these shows coming out and keep these
I think at the moment it's been such a good, like you said, right? Like in terms of like striking combat sports product, it's insane. It's been every week has been consistently crazy. The fights have been like dramatic. You know what I mean? They're dramatic. The stakes are insane.
Who's your favorite?
Hungry.
Who's your favorite fighter right now? Like when you're sitting there. Like, who's your, like, oh, shit. I mean, you've seen all of them.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of the guys. If you're like, who do you get most excited to call?
That's a good question. There's so many good guys, man. Yod Pupa.
Yeah.
Yod Pupa he's a beast. He's a cracker. Every time he fights, he goes out there. He's swinging. In terms of, like, females, who's been the standout?
That Hong Kong girl.
Yeah, Yu Yao Pui.
Yeah.
Yu Yao Pui.
She puts volume on people like I've never seen. She does not stop punching. Good body shots.
Yeah, she's insane. But Pajija was incredible on the way to that contract. Lisa Riley, man, she was looking really good too until Nong M was able to knock her out in the last one. Were you there? You were there, right?
I don't know if I was at that one, but...
Yeah, but So many good.
Sexon, I mean,
Yeah, Sexon, yeah, for sure, right?
Sexon burned the house down in the last fight.
Every single time he fights, man. Every single time he fights.
I mean, Lumpinee, I've never seen it that loud. Every time he would like dive in and throw a knee, the whole crowd would be like, "Oh
yeah!"
I love
everybody.
It was mental. There's some wars too, man. There's just been some absolute wars.
So many. Comebacks as well have been like, bro, this it's insane, man.
What was the fight last week where there was like 3 knockdowns in a round? Like one guy knocked the other guy down, and the other guy came back and knocked him down twice. It was like, I can't remember.
Yeah. As Rambong.
Oh yes.
Rambong, and who did he fight? I can't remember.
That's exactly what it was. You're putting us on the spot, but yeah.
You know why, bro? Because we do shows every week, right? I've done 20, 22, 23 shows now up to this point, like
in a couple months.
Right? So the names, like, I should know, but bro, I'm always being bombed by new guys and new names. Like, I feel bad sometimes that I don't remember the names, but
what are like the challenges of doing the commentary every week like this, getting these new guys in, because you guys do a great job of sort of educating the audience on who these people are. You have great backstories. I mean, like, what are the challenges of the job?
That was because we always have in the beginning, right? There's been a couple. I don't know if you guys actually get to like identify it when you're watching the show. In the beginning, it was a push for how Lumpinee is the Mecca of martial arts. Lumpinee is the Madison Square Garden of the East, right? We were trying to push that narrative, and then after that, it was pushing One Fighter Fights is a platform for up-and-coming emerging fighters to earn that $100,000 contract into one championship, right? And now the narrative has been, look, let's push more of their stories and their backgrounds, right? Try to make them identifiable. I try to make them relatable, like heroes, right? Like The Voice, for example, when you hear about a very emotional story, you identify to that guy, right? You remember, oh, that's the dude with that story, right?
You're telling the story, creating the character.
Right? So that was what we had a big call with Chatri, Bo, Mitch, Achilles, Melvin, all the production guys, right? And talked about, look, we have to push more the stories instead of the bonuses and the contracts. Yeah. So that's been a big push for I think that's why the show always gets better, right? Because you're always looking at the guys at the top, always looking at, hey, how do we make this product better? How do we engage more people, right? Because like you said, fighting is fun, but to have a hero, you need to continually tell the story, right? To make them relatable, to make them somebody that you want to support and continue supporting. Like, oh, this guy's fighting this week, Superlex fighting this week. What is the story? Like, oh, his mom used to be, work as a nurse or as a cleaner. Now, like, through fighting, he's been able to buy her a house, retire her. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, really? Now we get to tell that story with this platform. So I think, that's why, like, always, like, we're always being pushed to do better. And I think that's what it is as well. Like, there's this big meeting. We do the post-show meetings where you're part of as well. After the judging and after the show, we stand back there with the crew and they're like, hey, look, you got to remember, man, as these shows go on, we got to continually try to get better each week, right? You can't get complacent. Yeah. Because that's when it goes down. Because you're comfortable. And somebody hungrier, somebody that wants to do it better, has more money, or you know what I mean? Like, we'll come in and try to, like, push you off. Yeah. That's when you get comfortable, right? But if you're always trying to get better, it can never catch up.
And I think the thing that makes Lumpinee so special, to me at least, is, I mean, honestly, as much as I love watching the fights, I love to sit outside sometimes when I'm like eating or whatever, when there's a fight going on, and go outside, eat for 20 minutes, is to listen to the commentary of it live, because, I mentioned this again, and I just can't stop talking about the importance of it. I mean, the stories that you're telling, the fact that you're creating these sort of superheroes and telling the story of these Thais that have like hundreds of fights and have fought their way out of poverty, and the fact that there's a narrative that we can hear in English that's got really good production quality is so good for these Thai fighters that has just had all these wars and all these epic fights, and for the first time, really, it's globally accessible to people who speak English. And as you get to like ONE Lumpinee 50, ONE Lumpinee 100, these stories will have started to circulate, and more people are going to be seen over and over and over again, and that's going to help with the marketing of the people, and really eventually down the line, maybe even if you even think like 10 years of like following an NBA model or an NFL model of like, will this be a viable path as a professional form of athletics? Can ONE Lumpinee pay eventually down the road like what NBA players get? More money, more opportunity, bigger name, you know what I mean? And once you have that, because you can find some old stuff. Like if you do your YouTube research, you can like find some fighters from like the 70s and the golden era of Muay Thai, some of the 80s fighters, the ones that made it through that people know about, but only the Muay Thai nerds know about, right?
They did the research, they told the story.
Because they're really deep into the whole and they're fanboys. But as it starts to get more and more global, like people know who Rotang are, that probably don't know anything, but it's because it's a new thing happening. He's starting to permeate into like the zeitgeist a little bit. And as it continues to happen, who knows, man? Maybe a proper professional league where people can do this for a living and make good life-changing money, when before it had just been, it's like by the time the older Thais would retire, it's like how long could they last with just that money? They have to do other things,
That's true. But I think that's what's special about this show, right? This show is that platform.
Yeah.
To get into one championship. When you get into one championship, it's not going to be easy. If you look at the Super Series and one championship, kickboxing, Muay Thai, it is literally, bro, the best of the best.
Yeah.
You have, unless you're a guy coming in, you're a world champion level, you're a killer, bro. You don't want to be there really, because
they're so good.
It's too deep, that pool, and you're not gonna be successful unless you develop that world championship level skill, right? Because bro, it is ruthless. Right? The level is so high, right?
Look at Giorgio Petrosian.
Exactly,
I mean,
right?
Jesus Christ,
bro, best in the world.
Super Bond head kicked him into
in the
oblivion.
head, yeah. But that's on the flip side. The opportunity is so big to change your life, right? Super Bond just opened his own gym. He's flying all over the world. Super Leg just did a U.S. tour. Rotang, he's 1 million followers, getting paid $300,000 now a fight.
Yeah.
Bro, all these guys.
Tawan Chai
as well, bro. He's always on TV, bro. Walking around, you know what I mean? Like, people line up to take pictures of him. That is what you can have if you get into one championship and you'd be successful, right? Obviously, that's like the top 5%, but still, there is a pathway and there's an opportunity. The door's there.
Yeah.
You got to kick that door down, right? But
Also,
this is the one platform.
Also, it's becoming cool. I noticed this, and I think I talked to Timo or Rob about this, because Rob's got all the stories about the old school Lumpinee Stadium and everything. And he and I were talking, and he was like, at the old Lumpinee, before ONE came in, the people that were in the audience were like the uncles, right? It's the uncles, and it's the aunties, and it's the gamblers, and it's like the older guys in their 40s, and they're smoking, and they're gambling on the side, and it's just whatever, right? And then that's how they would make their money on the gambling. But now, when you go to like a ONE Lumpinee show, like there's supermodels in there. Some of these girls are so hot. I'm just like, oh my god, right? You see like Rotang sitting there. You see a young audience. It's becoming hip. It's becoming cool. It's not. I mean, no disrespect to the aunties and uncles out there who love them some Muay Thai, but like when you're in the building, you can feel that like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah,
this is cool. You see beautiful people, celebrities there. Like everybody's just screaming when the fights are on. It's got like a hip new thing kind of energy to it, which you need. Yeah. Right? It's got that cool vibe to it.
Yeah. But it's also because of the work that the ONE Championship, ONE Lumpinee puts in, right? Like, this is their champions. This is them outside of fighting, right? They make the photo shoots, the magazines, whatever, right? You make it cool where, like, why would you want to be a fighter? You know what I mean? Because you want to have that.
I'm wearing the ONE Lumpinee shirt if you're just listening to the audio, and it was the hardest shirt to get that I've ever had in my entire life, so I bought like 4 of them.
Did you actually? Come on, man.
Yeah, I had to get some for the wife, I had to get some for some friends, so I ended up buying like 4 of them. But you were just saying you got a message from the panda, man.
Yeah, Jingnan, man. Me and Jingnan, we're super close.
She's an animal, man.
She's so good, man. She's a beast. Obviously, what's she now, 8-time?
Yeah.
8-time ONE strawweight world champion. She's a big man. To this day, like I always tell people, she's like the most. She got so much grit, so much the resolve in her is like nothing like
no
I've
quit.
ever seen, bro. Like nothing like I've ever seen. Like and she carries that in training as well. Like she's someone that taught me a lot. She gave me like my first opportunity working with a world champion. Like I got to help her out with like I think 3 or 4 camps, all the Angela Lee fights.
You were training her?
We were training her. She flew me to Shanghai. She flew me to Singapore to train her, which was cool, man. And it also gave me like a lot of confidence early on, like right after fighting to coach.
Yeah.
Because I got the trust of these people, right? Because that's what all coaching is, right?
You have a great reputation as a coach, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Because
Appreciate
the word
it.
gets around, it's a pretty small community, and as a coach, you have a great reputation.
Appreciate it, man. But I learned from a lot of good people, like my boy Matt Polino.
Matt Polino.
Great coach, man. He's a good coach.
He's a wild motherfucker.
Very
I love
passionate,
that dude.
yeah. So
Go watch
passionate.
some of my podcasts with Polino if you want to be entertained.
Polino is the man. He's my boy, man.
He's a real one.
He is. Yeah.
He's a real one.
He is. At the end of the day,
think about that dude.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He's gonna tell you how it is, and I love him. Me and him had some journeys, man. He used to be. He used to help me out in the beginning of my career. I did a couple camps with him. He was like helping us wrestling and striking as well. Basically, head MMA coach. A bunch of fights where I was cutting to 57 kilos. He would be in the sauna with me.
Yeah.
Soldier, right?
Yeah.
At that time, bro, I was cutting to 57. It was painful.
That's a brutal cut.
I was talking about in the sauna.
57 is what like my wife weighs.
Terrible.
She's like
terrible.
55 or whatever.
I don't know why, but anyways,
That's crazy.
it was tough.
How
man.
much would you cut?
It was like deep dark moments where you're like fighting demons, right? Like that was how it was.
Oh yeah, the worst part of the weight cut is worse than the worst part of the fight.
100%.
Usually.
I also kind of enjoyed it though because it was almost like meditation.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the hot tub, you gotta control your breath so you don't fucking freak out.
Yeah.
So it was like
the sauna, you can almost freak out if you're not keeping your shit together.
Yeah. So bro, like with Polino, like I'm not talking about in and out of sauna. In sauna, duration of me inside sauna, 4 hours.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so brutal.
Terrible. It was painful.
Like dangerous, also.
But dangerous, right? Your head's burning. You're fucking like in and out. You dry.
Headache.
Bro. Yeah.
Because you're dehydrated.
It's tough, man. But I felt good. I felt good the day of the fight, so I continued doing it, and then now, obviously, before I stopped fighting, one implemented the hydration testing, which I really felt like is the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still find ways around it, but in terms of like, that's how everyone should be, man. If you walk around a certain weight, bro, fight that way.
There's these nerds online who are like, oh, it's got these problems and it's got these problems and this is happening and this is... It's like, okay, well, what's a better solution?
Yeah.
Because you have some of these people that complain about the hydration. Oh, the hydration test is this and you can cheat the hydration test and you can cheat any test.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like, but you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's
you gotta
like,
try.
the UFC's not doing shit.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like dying on the scales and nobody gives a shit. At least like one is trying something.
The other day, what was it? Aspen Ladd was like, shaking on the scale. Like, bro, how are you gonna fight the next day, bro? You shouldn't even be cleared to fight if you could not walk.
I mean, there have been people that have passed out and fought the next day.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is so crazy.
That's crazy. We're going to Matty P. He's in the sauna with me the whole time.
Yeah.
He's a soldier, man. He's a soldier. I love Matty P, and I'm so happy with what he's doing now. Foxglove, he's become like such a great coach.
He's
like
in
moving to
Singapore with me.
America, working in Singapore with you. Worked at Syndicate, helped a bunch of guys there, UFC guys. He's a man.
What I love about Polino too is he's a fanboy.
He loves it.
You know, one MMA fanboy knows when they find another MMA fanboy. Because I can talk to him about some of the most obscure fights from 10 years ago, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, and you can go real deep.
Yeah.
We've done like 2-3 hour podcast, and we're literally just talking about MMA
fights.
the entire time.
Yeah, he's the man.
Right, so he's got real deep knowledge, and is a huge fan of the sport, and obviously, like us, put all of his chips in on doing this as a living, right?
Wasn't easy, man. Wasn't easy for him as well, being like the first. He's so young when he got here. And to get to where he is now, obviously, took a lot of courage and trust in yourself and skill, obviously.
It's interesting watching all of you guys. I mean, like that whole... I mean, obviously you and your brother Keanu coming out of there, Polino, Ev Ting, fucking T-Bin is a goddamn movie star now all of a sudden. And it's like, to see where everybody's going.
Cool, yeah.
T-Bin's the man. I saw him in Singapore. He came to Singapore.
He's the man.
We had lunch and had a few beers. The fucking guy, the waiter at the bar recognized him.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're T-Bin from whatever movie it was.
Yeah. He's killing it, man. T-Bin's the man. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, so if you don't know, listener, T-Bin Govindasamy is like he used to train at Clinch and with all of us, and then he became a movie star all of a sudden, and he was filming in Singapore when he was there.
He's
so nice.
So good dude, great karate, super strong.
He hits like a fucking truck too.
Super strong, yeah.
He's spinning back kicked me once in the liver, and I really thought I was going to shit myself. Dude, I'm not joking. Everything tightens up. It's like, oh, and you're just like, oh, I'm about to, about to embarrass myself here on these mats.
He's good, man. I obviously like his career and now being a movie star is taking off for him, and so happy for him. But I always like to see like, man, if he like would have put some time and energy into it, like where he would have gone. You know what I mean? At the time, like he won the Mima belt. You know, he had some karate and he was tough, he was explosive. But who knows, man? But Life takes you
I told
in
him to keep
different
training.
directions. Yeah,
I was
keep
like,
training.
dude, you got to keep training. He came in and he was supposed to train, but he was going to come train at the gym. He told me that when his first training session back, whatever coach he trained with in Malaysia, he got injured. Like immediately on like the first day, they were having him do some crazy explosive drill, and he immediately got hurt on like the first day. I think he said it was even by the coach. And then I was like, dude, you can come to Stronghold. Like, no one's gonna hurt you. Like, come go to a good training environment. Make sure you're safe. You got to protect your face. That's the moneymaker, man. You're making these movies. You know
what it is as well. Like I tell people all the time, man. Like that's how like injuries happen, right? You're not a full-time athlete, right? Because even in high school or junior high, you have plyometric workouts, right? Where you're prepping your body for explosive movements, right? You're doing all these things where you're getting your body ready for these violent movements. But now especially when you can train, but you don't have that same change of direction, the same explosiveness. Right? That's the torque and the tension in the body that hurts you because you're not used to moving at that speed anymore. You're not a fighter anymore.
Yeah, your body has to be conditioned to it.
You have to, yeah.
Or you're liable to get injured. And also, if the environment's not properly controlled,
exactly.
And you're doing like these explosive drills and you haven't moved like that in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, at Stronghold, we have a bunch of doctors and lawyers. I mean, I'm in like a really nice part of Singapore, a super expat community. And it's like, yeah, these people should have every right to come in and train without getting hurt. Like, you have to do that. I get guys that want to spar, they want to do boxing, they want to do Muay Thai, but they're a 40-year-old doctor with 2 kids at home. Like, they can't be coming in and getting fucked up.
Yeah, you gotta control it.
Yeah, and so, in case of Tevin, I mean, I hate those injury stories. I hate them because it pushes people away from training.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Tevin he did my podcast way back in the day during COVID, and he's telling me, man, I want to keep training, I want to get back into it, I miss it because I'm a fighter. And I was like, dude, you got to restructure your brain. You got to rethink your reward system because now you're doing this acting thing, you're doing this modeling thing. You have to switch your thought process on to the skill development, the training, being the student. Because the fighting thing is like, what are you going to do? Go get fucked up right now? You're starring in movies, bro.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want to train. I was like, I feel you, but you got to just start making it about getting better at the skill.
That's the hardest.
That's what keeps you for life, not this like short window of like, oh, I'm 26 and want to fight, because you can fight at 26, but at 40, at 45, it has to be the skill development. That has to be what your goal is when you go in there.
Yeah, and that's been like the biggest shift there in direction as well, because now your goal is different, right? It's always the ego. Like when you go in there, especially in jiu-jitsu, for example, right? Unless you're like a black belt, you understand like what it is, right? You have these young, hungry guys, they're trying to go at you 100%. Like, bro, it's not about winning every round, right? It's about it's a journey, right?
It's all about skill
consistency, skill development, and like being able to train the day after.
Yeah.
And the day after, and the day after, right? But if you fucking go hard and now your back's done for like 2 months, like, bro, that's not what you should be doing, right?
One of the worst things for your skill development is trying to win every second of every round.
Yeah.
Because then you're not putting yourself in different positions. You're not developing new techniques. Like those people that only try to win all the time, those are the people that only play their A game. Because if they play anything else, they're going to get exposed.
It's true.
So you got to be comfortable putting yourself into bad positions, whether you're doing sparring, whether you're doing jiu-jitsu, whether you're doing everything, because that's what builds skills, right? And ultimately, if you want to get good, like in the name of our game, why would you go to you as a coach or me as a coach or just some random guy as a coach? The currency is when you choose a gym, I want to go to a place where my skill well developed the quickest, right?
100%.
So it's like, why would I go here, right? Because we've refined everything enough to get you good quick. And part of that becomes, the most important thing is that you have that student mentality and you're trying to get better, not trying to win all the time. Because you're not going to win. People got to be starting on your back all the time. People got to be starting with the arm. People got to be starting from the mount. You got to escape these bad positions. Like, you really need to, if you want to do it for life, if you want to keep training in your 40s and your 50s, there has to be a goal. And the only thing that's going to survive when your body starts to break down is like your desire to get better and develop those skills.
I agree.
It's the best when you learn a new move.
It's the best.
And there's so many moves. Like, there's so many cool things you can learn.
Bro, continuously, right? And so many different aspects as well. Like in jiu-jitsu, I'm sure you get to a point where, wow, I get this period where I'm loving jiu-jitsu, right? And then you get to a period where I'm loving boxing. I get a period where I'm loving kickboxing. I'm loving Muay Thai. So that's what gets people hooked into martial arts, because progression and like learning a new skill is the thing that keeps people back, right? It's the thing that keeps people feeling better, right? Because if you're just stagnant in your life doing the same thing, not getting better at anything, bro, it's becomes pretty depressing, right? But if you go to a gym and now you're learning the skill, and well, now I feel like I'm getting better at it. You want to do it again, right? You want to do it again, you do it again, do it again. And for us, that we've been training in so many different martial arts to have different things to get better at. I think it's like a playground, man. For me, like I feel like.
What is the thing about martial arts MMA that you do find so fascinating? Like what keeps you coming back? Like what is the aspect of it that you're just like, fuck, this is awesome? Keeps you coming back, keeps you in the business, keeps you in the industry.
Yeah, I think for me it's the gamble, right? It's you never know who's gonna win, but you always have the opportunity to try, and you have to get. Being a fighter, right, is your gamble, your risk there. Outside of fighting, you have fighters that you take care of, you helping them get to where they want to go, right? And there's no feeling like it, man, when you put in the work and you go out there and you fight and you're supposed to. This guy's an animal, a beast. Oh, it's like, I don't know if you're gonna beat him. It's 50-50 chance, maybe 60-40 chance, but you go out there and you beat him, right? There's no feeling like it.
Yeah.
And you beat this guy at the end, like all your hard work is like validated, and the work you've done, it works, right? And it's not only for you, right? You get to see the guy that you train or the people that you train. Now that I'm on the other side, like, you see them like take steps forward, right?
You get it vicariously through your students a bit.
Yeah, and then more than anything, right? It helps you become a better person.
Yeah.
I think that's at the end of the day, right? Bro, martial arts is fighting, whatever it is, bro. It's all about being good people, right? Because for me, like now, like why I'm opening up the gym is a big part of it is when I look back at me and my brother, right? My brother's number one, the man, right? Like in terms of like mentally strong people, he's probably top of the list of like people I know, right? For him to come back with multiple injuries and do what he's done, to come back, broke his leg, bro, food poisoning and whatever, you know what I mean, and still fight, bro. Like he's a soldier, you know what I mean? Like that in terms of like, oh yeah, wins and losses are great, but being a true martial artist and showing yourself and who you are and determination, grit, all that stuff, like he's like,
it builds that character, like
yeah, bro. That if you, one of the big things, man, I remember was when he first broke his leg, he was to come back to fight Sagedao.
Just for the listeners to have some context, he had his leg broken in an MMA by check kick, just like Weidman and Connor, and that gruesome injury. Just for the listeners to have some context on what you're talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, so he broke his tibia and fibula, right, and he came back 18 months. He had the
That's crazy.
Crazy,
That's
right?
crazy.
But he was in the gym 5 a.m. rehab, 5 a.m. rehab. So he was on it, right? Again, like one of the smartest dudes. You should get him on, actually.
For sure, I'd love to talk to Keanu. Absolutely. Did he fight Tenkai in his first match back?
Yeah. So,
and that's crazy.
Right.
Of course, Tenkai, people knew then, but they didn't know how good he was going to be. To fight Tenkai in his first fight back after a leg break is crazy.
It was a big learning experience for me and him both, because number one, we were supposed to fight Sagedao. Sagedao's multiple time Lumpinee world champion, but all right, take him down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Great fight. And then it's like, now Sagedao has to pull out this Tenkai. And to be honest, bro, prime Keanu and a prime Tenkai is a good fight, but I didn't obviously account for the fact that my brother just broke his leg. He was looking good in camp. We didn't actually have the best camp. We had limited people, but we did what we could in the COVID time, right?
Yeah.
He was in shape, but he went out on the fight. Immediately I said, bro, let's try not to throw a left leg. Let's try to use more hands, grapple a little bit more, right?
He just didn't want the thought in his head, that slight little fear in the back of your head.
Exactly, and he comes up immediately, smashes the left kick into the body twice. And I get it, right? Because when
part of it for him might be like, just get it over with.
I would probably have done the fucking same. You know what I mean? You have to
get it out of your head. Yeah. Fucking just throw one in there.
But he says he threw a kick and he hit his elbow and broke his leg. First round.
Yikes.
First round was pretty competitive, but second and third he was just surviving, like, and he 100% thought he broke his leg, because after the fight, actually it was some moment in the second and third round where I look at him and I was like, bro, I don't know. I was like, bro, you have to continue. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have to keep fighting, because that's like you talk about, right? All that, the attributes and like mental resolve and all that stuff, it translates into life, right? And if you do that in the ring, right, we find a way to, like you said, like there's many moments for us to climb out the window, bro, and fucking move to another country, right?
Just turn your back a little bit.
If you let that happen once, it slips in.
You let that demon in
over and over and over again, bro. You can go back to it, but he didn't. He held on. And he went all 3 rounds, but after the fight, he's like, bro, I broke my leg, and he couldn't walk. He was in the wheelchair. He's like, I broke my leg. He's like, so PTSD, right? It's real.
For sure.
That's your
bro. That's a horrific injury.
Horrific, right? And it went back to the hospital. Luckily, nothing was broken, but his bone actually didn't heal.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and also the answer, like, fuck, I may have broken it again.
Yeah,
like,
But for him to come back after that, bro, I'm going into a tangent, but my brother, he's the man. Came back for James Yang.
Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson protege. Everyone thought he was going to smoke my brother. My brother took him down, controlled him, dominated on the ground, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, yeah, let's go. We got a little bit of momentum. Momentum was back on our side. And then we do the Amir Khan fight. And everyone thought, oh, Amir Khan's going to beat him up. Amir Khan's going to knock him out.
Yeah, Amir was ranked 5th at the time as well.
Number 5 and 1 in the world, in one championship. We had a great camp. We didn't have much, bro. At the time, I had just left this business I was with, and I had a falling out. And I was like, fuck it, bro. I will do what I can. So I made a little home gym in my friend's place. Justin from Rituals was able to lend me some of his mats. We put the mats on the wall, concrete walls, you know what I mean? Like nothing, bare minimum. But my boy Yusuf Webby, who was a real good coach now, he used to be a professional fighter as well. I fought like close to 20 fights. Like, me and him been all over the world together, like being in each other's corners. He helped me with that camp. And we had a great camp, right? With the bare minimum, we were able to go out there and beat Amir. He was the number 5 guy. We didn't get number 5, which was pretty fucked up.
How did they not rank him after
It's
that?
fucked up. I don't want to go into
I know. I think I actually had Polino on the podcast
Yeah.
after that fight because he was in your brother's corner.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about that. We're like, where the fuck is his ranking?
Yeah.
I mean, he just beat the number 5 guy. Who else can slide up there?
Yeah. But they put the guy that Amir beat down number 5. We're like, whatever, bro. Politics, right? Whatever. We forget about it and continue. And then he had to do back-to-back losses now. One because like food poisoning. One, I couldn't be there for his camp, but for him to come back from that and be a true martial artist, that has like been a big example for me and man, a lot of people around him as well. You know what I mean? Like, that is always like when I go back to like, he's my benchmark. You know what I mean? Like when I talk about like, fuck, works hard, but I don't really want to train. This motherfucker wakes up like, helps out at the restaurant. He'll wake up at 6 a.m. do the workout, go to the restaurant, finish at like 8 p.m. Go back to the thing, work out again. It's like, bro, like, I gotta be that. You know what I mean? Like that is the benchmark that I gotta be.
Yeah. No, that's so cool that you guys did that together as well. Like you both.
Yeah.
What's the age difference between you guys?
Year and a half.
So yeah, you're basically the same age, pretty close. You both happen to just share the same passion for the sport.
Yeah.
You get to do that with your brother. You get to do that with your boy.
Especially, man. It was cool.
Like what a crazy cool journey to get to. I mean, that's like kind of the dream. Is like you get to do this
100%.
with your brother. You get to do it with your friends, your boys. You get to see them like 10 years down the line, like where everybody's at.
Crazy.
What a trip, eh?
Crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. I forgot what we were talking about. Going to this huge thing about my brother.
No, that's cool, bro. Shout out to your brother. I want to get him on the podcast. And we got to do it one day when we have a couple of us, like maybe me, Keanu, Polino. I could do it with maybe Ahmed and your brother when we're in Kale or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to do more of the podcast whenever we're in Bangkok because it's such good content. I mean,
we never talked about the fights going on today.
That's okay.
We'll hit it another time. But basically tonight, Friday night.
Yeah, don't forget. The Lumpinee's tonight and tomorrow. You know what, dude? It's actually better. I like it like this better because sometimes we do the fight breakdowns and that sort of content gets dated, right? Because we were only talking about that one fight and then there's fights the next week and there's fight.
Yeah.
But when we can talk and tell stories about our training, about your fight career, about the shows, that tends to be more like universal content. You can look back on that and you're going to get stuff there that's not hyper specific to the time.
Yeah.
So no, I'm happy we touched on it, but we didn't go down too far because I want to hear your story. And plus I know so many of your boys and we float in the same circles.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be able to do this with you, bro. And let's do it again.
Nah, appreciate it. Let's do it. I'll stay the next time to Saturday so we can talk about the fights after.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna try to get Rob Cox on here and maybe Timo.
Come on.
I like this. I'm a little scared to ask sometimes, right? Because I'm trying to like stay in my lane, but I also know that they'll probably be cool with it.
Yeah, well, they love talking about it. Like I said, we had a whole conversation, 40 minutes with Rob about Muay Thai.
They love it. And honestly, dude, when it comes to this kind of content, there's no game in town. Like, this is why I wanted to do this, because I have this podcast. I've had it for years. And, I've talked to the Singaporean people and the coaches within Singapore. But in terms of, like, Lumpinee and ONE, there's nobody that's, like, behind the scenes talking to the people putting out, like, really original content, independent media.
Yeah, true.
There's nothing, especially in a long-form context. So I think it's good for them, and I would love to talk to Timo or whoever and see if I can get a little bit more access to some people. So that way the people that you see on TV, Dom, any of these guys, Timo, the executives, of course some of the fight would be great content because there's just nothing like that out there, especially long form. You get to hear these people's stories.
Those are the people that are doing the work too.
Yes,
The
exactly.
background people, man. Yeah.
And they got so many crazy stories.
So many, yeah. They've been a part of the game so much too, from a different perspective. You know what I mean? Fighting is you understand the fight and the training, the process of fighting, but these guys like running the show behind have crazier stories. Sometimes.
And there's so much history
Yeah.
that happened in this part of the world. So many legendary fights that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
So if we can chronicle that and get to talk to all you guys, it's going to be awesome. Gianni, I better let you go, bro. You got a
appreciate it.
You got a long day ahead of you, my man.
I do.
You got to put in the work. Everybody, this is the Stronghold podcast. Gianni Subba in the house. Thank you for doing this, man. You're one half of the voice of ONE Lumpinee, along with your boy Mitch Chilson. And this has been fucking awesome. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's go. Try to get Brick Mitch in or something.
Yeah, anybody. I'll talk to all of them, man. I'll even come here if there's no show. I mean, I love this. And I love MMA, like especially having the long conversations. I got this job because I had Bashir on a podcast. That's how I met Bashir.
Yeah, true.
So
Bashir's
literally,
the man.
years down the line, it ended up getting me the judging job, because that's when Bashir and I had a long chance to have a conversation. This was like 2015, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then 6 years later, he's like, hey, what do you think about coming and being a judge? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So getting to have the conversations like this and stuff, it's awesome.
Yeah,
getting
come on,
here.
man.
So everybody, Stronghold Podcast, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Gianni. Yeah, dude.
Come on.
Fuck, that's fun. I love it.